Hello folks, this video is unscripted. Somebody's hungry, so let me feed the pig, and I'm gonna give some information about the Federal Air Marshal Service that may shock you.
Sit down.
All right guys, let me just get away from the rest of these animals. Got a couple of, there you go. All right folks, this is unscripted. I'm outside, just finished feeding the damn pig, but I had to get this off my chest. So this was completely unscripted. I will say this, the following message is about the Federal Air Marshal Service Qualification. 2001, the original Air Marshal program required that you pass the tactical pistol course, and that's this course of fire that a lot of civilians have been doing on YouTube and saying, can you pass the Federal Air Marshal Qualification? Very difficult course of fire. When you're in the academy in Artesia, New Mexico, sorry, it's really hot out here, you have 3 attempts to pass the original Federal Air Marshal Tactical Pistol Course. We're gonna call it TPC. I passed it on my 3rd attempt. Very difficult.
1.53.
Well, get this, they had to drop the requirement for students to pass the tactical pistol course because more than 60% of them were failing. And the reason why they dropped it was Congress had mandated by June or July 2002 that they had to have so many air marshals on payroll.
Show me the money.
TSA quickly realized, or whatever agency was running it back then, because TSA was still being built back then, I think it was FAA, but whoever was running it, they had to drop the requirement. So some of these people who lost their jobs, they actually brought them back to the academy to finish. So it gets worse. At phase 2, that's follow-on training, they designed the course of fire differently and they call it the ATPC, Aircraft Tactical Pistol Course. So this one was a little bit better, I guess, because it was more related to shooting in an aircraft. So they had aircraft seats inside the gun range, some dummies, so we were shooting between the dummies' heads, leaning out into the aisle and engaging your threat. When I got there, I thought it was gonna pass or fail again. So when it was my turn to take that course of fire, I leaned over to the instructor who was right next to me with a pack timer, and he said, when I asked him whether or not it was pass or fail, he whispered and said no.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
They had to drop the requirement because more than half of the current air marshals that I was working with were failing it.
Can we get serious now?
Now, like I said, I passed the original tactical pistol course. The aircraft tactical pistol course, I scored a perfect score. But the fact that TSA dropped the requirement of the original tactical pistol course, sorry, I'm looking at these 2 cows over here, I forgot about they were out. And they also dropped the requirement for the aircraft tactical pistol course in order to maintain your job or pass the academy. So this misconception, and I call it a smokescreen, that the Federal Air Marshal Service are the best marksmen in law enforcement is kind of a myth.
You can't handle the truth.
Let me explain to you why. The only requirement to pass the academy at the Air Marshals is the practical pistol course. This is a standard course of fire for any federal law enforcement officer in the federal government. You know, it starts off, I think, 3 yards and all the way out to the 25-yard line where you're shooting from a barricaded position. It's just a traditional police course of fire. So a regular student for the federal law enforcement would have to get a 230 or better, right around there. What they did was they raised that bar up to right around 250. So yes, when they say that they're the highest marksman, it's kind of true. But the fact that they dropped the ATPC and the TPC at the beginning of the program is, to me, a smokescreen. It really was, because when I was on the line and I would normally shoot a perfect 300 on the practical pistol course, I'm bragging again, but I had this one guy next to me who was barely getting a 260. That was a problem for me. So let's recap. Are the air marshals the best at what they do? Yes, they are, because they're the only law enforcement agency that deals with stopping hijackings, dealing with IEDs on aircraft, medical emergencies at 30,000 feet. Nobody else does that but them. But the fact that they dropped the original course of fire from the curriculum of the program is a big problem for me. Now, if they were still doing the original TPC and the ATPC, then yes, I would say these guys are top-notch, but they're not when it comes to marksmanship. Like I said, I'm not belittling the agency. What they do is like no other law enforcement agency in the federal government. Guys, they lowered the standards to meet a quota. I gotta go feed this cow now.